Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host Nathan Lyle, and I've got a busy couple of weeks ahead of me, so this edition of NFL Weekly is a little early. In fact, Sunday isn't even over. I'm recording this before the Broncos and Chiefs kick off for the night game. But my next couple of days are going to be a little busy. I don't know when I'll be able to get to this. So, some of the biggest news and notes from around the league so far. Calvin Johnson on Thursday night became the all-time leader in Thanksgiving Day touchdowns. And he also became the quickest receiver in NFL history to get 10,000 career receiving yards. And then the news came in that RG3 was benched and Colt McCoy would be given the starting job. And he actually played pretty well. He had some impressive plays out there. But the Redskins still lost because their defense sucks ass. They just left all the receivers wide open, and Andrew Luck was easily able to shred the defense for 400 yards and his first 5-touchdown performance of his career. And then the only QB who did better than Luck was Ryan Fitzpatrick, who had 6 touchdowns on the game and a blowout win for the Texans. One of those touchdown passes was to J.J. Watt, who now has 5 touchdowns on the year. And another QB who got benched was Brian Hoyer. He continued struggling, and so late in the game, they gave Johnny Manziel the start. And he had a few flubs of his own as well, and the Browns still lost. But unlike Hoyer, at least Manziel was able to move the ball and put some points on the board. And so it was just slightly more competitive. Still a huge loss, but slightly more competitive. And then the Bengals are the only team in the AFC North that actually got a win this week. So they extend their lead on first place. But they did beat the Bucs, who are still the only team in the entire NFL that do not have a single win in their home stadium. How the fuck does that even happen? And in case you didn't find out about this, the Rams beat the Raiders 52-0. Wow. And I mean, it's just, the playoffs are getting closer. We've only got a few weeks left in the regular season, but there's still really no clear picture. It's still so very wide open. A lot of divisions have not been decided, and there are even a few divisions where the team that is in first place right now could potentially be dead last at the end of the season. Probably will not be, but the possibility still exists. So there's just so many different ways that this season can finish. It'll be another 2 weeks before we have a clear picture that this is what needs to happen for this to blah blah blah. I mean, I'm sure there are statisticians somewhere who already have all the possible scenarios lined out, but I'm not one of those guys, so we're just going to move on to next week's games. On Thursday night, you got the Cowboys at the Bears, and despite a horrible loss last week, the Cowboys still have a chance to win their division, get into the playoffs, so they're going to come out fighting. And then Sunday, the 1 o'clock games, you've got the Steelers at the Bengals, division rivalry. Right now, the Steelers technically tied for last place in their division. The Bengals, they've got a lead, but it's not really that secure. There's still plenty of time left in the season for them to completely fuck it up. So this will be a good game. And then the Ravens at the Dolphins. And both of these teams are still capable of winning their division, but they're also both capable of completely missing out on the playoffs altogether. So neither one of them can really afford too many losses right now. I mean, for a lot of people, the playoff starts now. For a lot of teams out there, this is the time where you just cannot afford any losses. I mean, things are getting really intense. This has been a great season so far. And then some of the 4 o'clock games, you got the Chiefs at the Cardinals. The Cardinals still in the fight for the division, but that lead keeps shrinking. And, the Chiefs, they still have a chance to win the division, and possibly even if they don't get the division, they still have a good lock on the wild card spot, but they need to keep winning. And then you've also got the Seahawks at Eagles. The Legion of Boom is not what it was last year. But both of these teams are still expected to make the playoffs, and who knows, this could potentially be the preview of the NFC Championship game. Probably not, but potentially. So, and either way, you've got two of the top halfbacks in the entire NFL in the same game. So if you like the rushing attack, then this should be an exciting one for you to watch. Then the Sunday night game is the Patriots at the Chargers, and the Chargers, they had an impressive comeback win against the Ravens. It was their third straight victory, while the Patriots, they had their winning streak snapped by the Packers, and the Patriots still completely undefeated at home, but they're a 500 team on the road, so you really never know. And then on Monday night, you've got the Falcons at the Packers. And if we get the Falcons that I saw earlier this morning, the one that actually managed to win their game, then it might be competitive. Otherwise, more than likely, this one's going to suck. Well, that's it for this edition of NFL Weekly. Tune in next week for another all-new edition. Until then, this is the Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lyle. Have a good week. Enjoy these last two games.